Cambodia on the 22nd to the 23rd of April. The number of people reported killed by the magnitude 6.1 earthquake that rocked Zambales, Pampanga, and the rest of Luzon has climbed to 18, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council's Friday update. In the same report signed and released by NDRRMC Executive Director Ricardo Halad, the number of injured was placed at 282 and missing at 7. The casualties are all from Central Luzon and still subject to verification and validation according to the agency. The number of affected families were placed at 3,205, which is equivalent to 14,901 individuals residing in 13 cities and municipalities in Region 3. Of these, 909 families or 3,381 people are being aided inside 6 evacuation centers, while 951 families, which is equivalent to 4,756 individuals, are being helped outside. Also, the number of damaged houses was placed at 1,230, with 156 totally wrecked and 1,074 partially in Bataan and Pampanga. The number of damaged structures and buildings in Region 1, 3, the National Capital Region, and Calabarzon was placed at 334. At 3 a.m. Friday, a magnitude 4.4 earthquake jolted Ilocos Norte, according to the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PhilVox. The tremor's epicenter was traced 10 kilometers southwest of San Nicolas town. Intensity 4 was felt in San Nicolas, while intensity 3 was felt in Sarat. The tremor was also felt in Sinait and Vigan City in Ilocos Sur and Pasukin and Lawag City in Ilocos Norte. There are no expected damages or aftershocks from the earthquake. The Philippine National Police, or PNP, on Thursday activated its search and rescue teams as well as other law and order teams for possible deployment and augmentation to the Police Regional Office 3 due to the magnitude 6.1 earthquake that struck Luzon on Monday. In a memorandum signed by PNP Director for Operations Major Jan Mao Aplaska, the National Capital Region Police Office, Police Regional Office 1, PNP Special Action Force, Maritime Group, and Crime Laboratory were ordered to get ready for search and rescue operations in the quake-hit town of Porac in Pampanga. Aplaska said this is the response of the PNP to sustain retrieval operations in Porac, which was hit hard by the earthquake. Meanwhile, PRO 3 Regional Director Brig Gen Joel Napoleon Coronel noted that fewer crimes were also recorded, citing total crime volume has dropped by nearly 37% a day after the temblor shook Central Luzon. Coronel said they continue their search and rescue efforts as they might still have chances of finding survivors and ensure the safety of everyone. At the same time, they still have deployed personnel in the area to thwart criminal elements, especially looters and profiteers who may take advantage of the situation. These dogs, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA K9 police dogs, are involved in the search and rescue operations in the collapsed supermarket in Porac, Pampanga, and they were lauded on social media. Take a look. In a Facebook post, Bet Photography Studio Pause Click shared on Wednesday the photos of the heroic police dogs. It captioned, "Salute to these fine senior canines of the MMDA K9 unit for their search and rescue efforts in a 4-story supermarket building in Porac, Pampanga." MMDA K9 unit senior police dogs are Billy, Thunder, and Farah. They were given a salute for their tireless work to search and rescue survivors trapped in the rubble of the collapsed 4-story supermarket after a 6.1 magnitude earthquake. Other canines involved in the operations, namely Ringo, Cody, Chia, Dumbo, Chaplin, and Lucy, were also given recognition. The number of persons injured in the magnitude 6.5 earthquake that rocked San Julian, Eastern Samar on Tuesday has climbed to 40, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council in its 6 a.m. update Friday. The report, signed and released by NDRRMC Executive Director Ricardo Halad, said the persons or the people injured are from Eastern Visayas. The figure is still subject for verification and validation according to the agency. Also, around 93 families or 372 people living in 18 barangays in Samar and Eastern Samar were affected by the earthquake. The NDRRMC also reported that 92 houses were damaged, 4 totally wrecked and 88 partially in Samar and Eastern Samar provinces. Malacanang on Thursday said President Rodrigo R. Duterte and Chinese President Xi Jinping agreed that the issue on the West Philippine Sea can be managed through bilateral negotiations. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said Duterte raised the issue of the West Philippine Sea, particularly the situation on Pag-asa Island, during his bilateral meeting with Xi. Panelo said both agree that the situation can be managed by the mechanism of bilateral negotiations, but it should not affect the cooperation being undertaken by both the Philippines and China, and they look forward to a productive discussion on matters of mutual concerns and interests. Panelo said she spoke of the importance of good neighborliness and proper handling of differences between the countries. He adds, while the Chinese leader acknowledged the inevitable of having challenges to the bilateral relations, he placed importance on the mutual trust that exists between the two nations in order to resolve the same. Panelo said she cited the Memorandum of Understanding on Oil and Gas as an example when both Manila and Beijing suspended their differences for a joint exploration that would mutually benefit both countries and their people. He added that Duterte articulated to Xi his position that the Philippines remains China's ally in Southeast Asia. Duterte said both countries are allies, and allies strengthen, not destroy each other's, according to Panelo. Duterte is in China from the 25th to the 27th of April for the Belt and Road Initiative Forum. The president is with other world leaders and heads of international organizations in the forum to discuss, among others, how to boost connectivity, further strengthen policy synergy, and build closer partnerships and promote green and sustainable development.
Visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. That you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. Two formal agreements were signed between the Philippines and China during President Rodrigo Duterte's fourth trip to Beijing, China, to attend the Second Belt and Road Forum Malacañang said on Thursday. Presidential spokesperson Salvador said the two agreements were signed after the bilateral meeting between Duterte and Chinese President Xi Jinping at the Great Hall of People in Beijing on Thursday. The two leaders witnessed the signing of the handover certificate grant aid for the Dangerous Drugs Abuse Treatment and Rehabilitation Centers project. Panelo explained that this is a ceremonial handover of the drug treatment facilities in Sarangani and Agusan del Norte, which were provided by China through grants. The agreement was signed by Philippine Ambassador Jose Santiago El Santaromana and Chinese Minister of Commerce Zhong Shan. Duterte and Xi also witnessed the signing of the exchange of letters on production capacity and investment cooperation between the Philippines and China, according to Panelo. He noted that the document proposes a project list which will serve as the focus of cooperation between the National Economic Development Authority and the National Development and Reform Commission. NEDA Secretary Ernesto Pernia and Chairman He Lefing of NDRC signed the document on behalf of their respective countries. Earlier, Department of Foreign Affairs Assistant Secretary for Asian and Pacific Affairs Maynardo Montealegre said the two countries are expected to sign at least 5 agreements on education, anti-corruption, official development assistance, and drug rehabilitation. Malacañang on Thursday said Chinese President Xi Jinping vowed to provide assistance to the Philippines in order to boost its regional growth, particularly in Luzon and Mindanao. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said President Rodrigo R. Duterte and Xi Jinping discussed how the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, would further help in the economic development of the Philippines. He said President Xi manifested that China will provide more resources to Luzon and Mindanao to spur regional economic growth as well as promote Clark Green City through the building of an industrial park. President Xi committed to provide 1 billion yuan grant to the Philippines. Panelo quoted Xi in saying the BRI would play an important role in the ASEAN-China relations, where the Philippines plays a role as country coordinator, and in the Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN growth area through increased cooperation. Panelo also said that they will consider the BRI as articulated by President Rodrigo R. Duterte as another opportunity to renew and reaffirm the valued relationship, which must be continued to foster in the coming years, with an aspiration that the fellow Filipinos will feel the true benefit of the Philippine-China relations. Panelo said Xi gave a word that the first group of Filipino teachers may soon start teaching English in China. He also committed to continue donating rice and fingerlings and importing our local fruits. A party-list lawmaker is pushing for the passage of a measure that will create a pension fund for farmers, fishermen, and agricultural workers to encourage them to remain in the sector. Deputy Speaker Sharon S. Garin of Aambizoa Party List said the passage of House Bill 6360, or the Agricultural Pension Trust Fund Act, will pave the way for the inclusion of farmers and agricultural workers in pension programs and benefits. The bill seeks to establish the Agricultural Pension Fund to provide pension benefits to agricultural workers, farmers, and fishermen. According to the measure, the Philippine Crop Insurance Corp shall serve as the main implementing body of the provisions of the bill. The PCIC shall also be responsible for creating a pension plan that shall become the basis for the allocation of benefits to its pensioners and promulgating the implementing rules and regulations of the measure. Under the bill, such amount as may be necessary shall be appropriated from the National Treasury. Thereafter, the amount necessary for the continuous operation of the program shall be included in the annual appropriations of the Department of Agriculture. The bill is pending with the House Committee on Agriculture and Food since September 9, 2017. Congress will resume session on May 20 and will adjourn on June 7. She added their farmers remain the poorest of the poor among the country's labor force, and it is only right that the government extend all manner of support toward them. Garin said it would be an injustice for the agricultural sector not to enjoy the same pension benefits as regular workers, considering that it contributes around 13 billion pesos or about 9% of the gross domestic product of the country. Agricultural workers also make up 26.1% of the country's labor force, which translates to 11.29 million workers. She said they simply want to turn things around. The lack of long-term benefits, in addition to the low income and intensive work, is one of the reasons why fewer people are entering and working in the agricultural sector. Garin said the decline in the number of agricultural workers may manifest its adverse effects to food security in the future if it is allowed to continue. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, a proposed free trade agreement between ASEAN and the 6 Asia-Pacific states, which it has existing free trade agreements, is expected to be signed next year. Khmer Times reports that negotiations to finalize the RCEP continued this week during a 2-day meeting in Phuket, Thailand. The ministers of Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam agreed to conclude the protracted RCEP negotiations by the time ASEAN leaders hold their annual summit in November. Thai Deputy Commerce Minister Chutima Punyarapara Sara was quoted as saying by a media source, "The signing of the agreement has been delayed due to political changes in some of the countries," according to the media. It noted that Indonesia and Thailand recently held elections. India is currently holding one, and voters in Australia and the Philippines are due to go to the polls in May. The agreement is being negotiated between all 10 ASEAN member states: Australia, China, India, Japan, South Korea, and New Zealand.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced, eagle news, because we live in interesting times.
Hi, I am Teacher Sally, and this is Kid Kwento, one of Net25 Kids' online shows. Kid Kwento is now on TV. You can watch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 to 4:30 p.m. Also watch Anong Sa Inyo with Ate DJ every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 to 4:30 p.m. Sa Kid Kwento, ang aming motto ay, let's all read to succeed! Hooray! Kita-kita tayo ha! Bye-bye!
Welcome back. ASEAN ministers deliberated and exchanged views on the progress of the ASEAN Economic Community as well as current issues pertinent to the global economy at the 25th ASEAN Economic Ministers Retreat in Phuket, Thailand from the 22nd to the 23rd of April 2019. The ministers endorsed 13 priority economic deliverables under Thailand's chairmanship of ASEAN in 2019, recognizing the changes being brought about by the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which underpins a number of the priority economic deliverables for the year. The top officials noted the next steps in advancing ASEAN's work in preparing a strategic response for the 4IR. Secretary General of ASEAN Dato Lim Jokhoi reported that the next steps will be cross-pillar, prioritizing on areas where the regional platform can best deliver and take into consideration existing and planned initiatives. The ministers also discussed matters regarding ASEAN's external economic relations, including the progress towards the conclusion of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership negotiations and the ongoing debate on reforming the World Trade Organization. 2 agreements were signed at the sidelines of the AEM retreat on the 23rd of April. The first agreement, ASEAN Trade and Services Agreement, encompasses all achievements that ASEAN member states have made to date under the ASEAN Framework Agreement on Services. It also provides the mandate for countries to transition towards a negative list approach for even deeper integration in the future. The second agreement, the fourth protocol to amend the ASEAN Comprehensive Investment Agreement, incorporates obligations on prohibition of performance requirements that will ensure ASEAN investors continue to get the best treatment through this agreement. The 25th AEM retreat was the first meeting of the economic ministers in 2019. The AEM will meet again at the 51st AEM meeting in September this year in Bangkok. ASEAN representatives discussed how to promote cooperation among member states as well as regional and international organizations in order to effectively address and eliminate mine and explosive remnants of war or ERW in the region at a seminar in Siem Reap, Cambodia on the 22nd to the 23rd of April. The regional seminar on full and effective operationalization of RMAC, enhancing regional efforts in addressing ERW through integrated approach, was hosted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Cambodia with the support of the Japan ASEAN Integration Fund 2.0. The event aimed at promoting regional cooperation within ASEAN to fully operationalize the ASEAN Regional Mine Action Center as well as enhancing cooperation among relevant regional and international organizations. Kan Parid, Secretary of State of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation as Cambodia's representative and Vice Chair of RMAC Steering Committee, presided over and delivered remarks at the opening ceremony. Representatives of the Embassy of Japan to Cambodia, Executive Director of RMAC, and Vice Governor of Siem Reap Province, and more than 100 participants from all 10 ASEAN member states, RMAC, the ASEAN Secretariat, Japan, and relevant regional and international organizations, as well as non-governmental organizations involving with landmine clearances, ERW, and demining activities attended the seminar. The seminar noted positive progress and achievements in implementing the RMAC's Work Plan 2019 to 2021. A number of projects have been conducted to enhance and strengthen the operationalization of RMAC. The seminar also recognized active participation from ASEAN member states, dialogue partners, and external parties to contribute to RMAC's work and achievements in carrying out its role and functions. All delegates took a field trip to Cambodian Mine Action Center's Peace Museum of Mine Action to understand achievements, experiences, and efforts of the Royal Government of Cambodia in addressing landmines and ERW. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Maricar Velasco and I am one with 25.